What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. It's the Q&A time. A live one. Oh, boy, what a week. I thought I was going to have a lot more time off yesterday, but here we are. Here we were yesterday. I want to save you guys some questions. You should probably check out the show with Jimmy yesterday. Check out the show with Jimmy yesterday. There's a lot of information in there. Jimmy has great insight. He called what could or would happen weeks ago. So please check that out. Off the top, I wanted to get to a question that I saw and I wanted to add some clarity to. Somebody said, Sean, regarding your Young Bucks report, Brian Alvarez said on the F4W board, you guys ever bought a house? You live in an apartment, you get married, you're doing all right. One day your wife says to you, hey, we should buy a house. You say, I agree. Let's start looking into it. If you would classify that right there as actively negotiating to buy a house, perhaps close to getting the deal done, then Sapp is right. Well, I just want to say, or we're just right, like we are 99% of the time. This ain't 1%. All due respect to Brian, but we didn't say they were close to getting the deal done. We didn't say anything like that, even though we have heard that one of the Bucks has said that to someone close to them. So I double, triple, quadruple verified that story. They've been in talks for a new deal, an extension, whatever that may be. The story is accurate. I just wanted to specify that. Jennifer says, the show with Jimmy yesterday was very good. Yeah, Jimmy hit me up and he was like, yeah, we should go live. And honestly, anytime Jimmy does that, I'm just like, let's do it. Those shows always do really good numbers. Taylor says, is there any possibility of Johnny Ace being brought back? I would be shocked because they don't need him for what they're doing, and that would actively hurt things as well, even more. I'm pretty sure that he had a golden parachute deal and he's taken care of, but there were some talent that were worried about it. Do you believe the loser leaves Japan match has implications for WWE's interest in Hikuleo, or more likely that the loser would work strong for a while? So I just want to specify, even though I saw it in the Observer and stuff like that, that might be the reason for this loser leaves Japan thing. The timing of our report and that announcement, I moved up the report because of the match announcement. So I had heard before Wrestle Kingdom that people of influence in WWE back in the summer had said that they had interest in Hikuleo. And then when that announcement for that match was made, I was like, well, let me just run this story. Why not? Just that sometimes it's the way it works. Do you still think Mercedes Moné becomes Saraya's partner? I think so. I think that she gets involved somehow. Reed says, being a free agent now, what do you expect happens with Nick Aldis? I was expecting WDB for he and Mickie James, honestly. That's what I was thinking. He's so talented and he can work a TV style anywhere. AEW had interest in him years ago. Danny says, before he signed in with WWE in 2020, how serious was Edge considering AEW's offer? Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask him. But I do know that AEW is very serious about bringing him in. And I don't know if that interest has waned at all. Matt says, what are the New Japan obligations for Sasha, Kenny, and Carl moving forward? Carl has none. He fulfilled his obligations. Sasha for sure has the San Jose show. Kenny will be the active, reigning, defending United States champion, so he has obligations moving forward. Brother SRS, I am once again hearing if you've heard anything when we get an update on AEW Fight Forever. I haven't. I was told that we would get a lot of video game news in January. In fact, one of my predictions on Denise's show was that this year was going to be a massive video game year between Retromania updates, assuming we get some, 2K, which will probably be out sooner than later, Fight Forever, the progress of Virtual Basements game. I'm working on it. I'm always working on it. I'm always asking. Every single week I'm asking. Do you know why WWE went for an arena and for Money in the Bank instead of a stadium, considering the success of Clash last year in Cardiff? I don't. I did ask. Man, I got to sneeze really bad, but don't know if that's a good idea anymore. Let me see because I asked, I said, hey, who pushed for the London show? And I was told it was a collaborative effort. I need to find this. Bink. There we go. Believe it was a collective decision. American holiday weekend in Europe worked out really well for the Clash. Same idea here. The O2 is London's MSG. It has a big feel. That was a specific line that I was given by somebody in WWE. We'll include that on the select portions update that we're doing soon. Sometimes we post notes that I reveal on there because not everybody watches this. But Mark says, how much influence do you believe Vince is going to have? I don't believe he's not going to change creative. I hope he doesn't change creative. People in creative had no idea. They were blindsided by it. Nobody knew except for, I think, the board. The board probably knew, and those that they immediately spoke to and were likely sworn to secrecy. Like, I'm sure Triple H knew. But the people I've spoken to, people, there are some, I don't even dramatize it. There's some very concerned talent. There are some very concerned talent. Stockholders that I speak to in the company are very, very happy. And I just want to say straight up, I even had it corrected. The headline that ran on Fightful that's like, oh, well, the stock increased following the news of Vince McMahon. It didn't matter if Vince McMahon came back or not. The stock was going to increase because there was talk of a potential sale. Like that's what happened there. So yeah, I just wanted to address that because yesterday at 3:30 it was about $71, and now it is sitting at 85. So a lot of people made a lot of money today. Any reaction from people who were brought back, especially the Good Brothers? Well, I know they, like others, didn't know anything. And there are some people, there was one person I talked to that said, well, it was nice while it lasted. Redmond Survivor said, Bucks outright said they are negotiating on BTE. Some of that, it's BTE. So, you got to take it with a grain of salt. But also, they throw stuff like that. Tom Brady says, do you think Naomi's coming back to WWE? I do think she'll come back to WWE. I'm not reporting that she is, but I think that she will. I think there's a great place for her in WWE. And I know a lot of people didn't like the Sonya storyline. Naomi told me that she did. Like, she told me that she really enjoyed that and she was happy that she got to sink her teeth into it and do something that was longer than a 1 or 2 week storyline. So that's how her year started. Then she went into a tag team with Sasha Banks that was wildly successful, albeit poorly booked. But you look at the things that she has done in her career. She won that WrestleMania Battle Royal. She won the SmackDown Women's Championship twice, including once at WrestleMania in her hometown. She won the women's tag team title. Like, really, especially the last 4 years of her run were really, really fun. I would say the last 5 years, from early 2017 to like 2022, they started to trust her with a lot more stuff, and she earned that. Like, she worked really hard. She put in the hours. She put in the reps and the bumps. Have you watched the post Wrestle Kingdom Jay White press conference promo? It was incredible. He's a phenomenal talker. Like, I could see why WWE would want him. I could see why every company would want him. There are a whole lot of people, Jay White, Will Ospreay, Juice Robinson, who were over in New Japan, and a whole lot of people that never watched him acted like they couldn't cut a promo. And all of them could cut a promo. All of them. Tama Tonga can talk. All of them. Just because you look at New Japan, and a lot of people who don't watch New Japan sit there and they say, oh, well, you know what? I think that they're over there just to wrestle. They can't cut promos. That's stupid, antiquated, dumb talk. Think NBCU or any of the other WWE partners will let them know they're not happy with Vince returning and could affect the relationship? Well, it could. It could affect their interest in upcoming rights fees negotiations. But for now, they're going to see through this deal no matter what. Do you know when Eric Young is supposed to start with WWE? Do you know if Wolf and Dane are joining him? No, he's going there. We posted today free agent news on EJ Nduka. His deal is already up, by the way. It's not up this weekend. It's already up. He's honoring that deal. Lady Frost, she's still a free agent. But she was offered deals from CMLL and was inquired to by AAA. Colby Carino, even though he tweeted he's a free agent, he's supposed to go to WWE. They just couldn't legally contact him until his NWA deal was up. Mads Kruger negotiated his MLW release a long time ago. It was official now. Billy Stark's a free agent. We're going to have more tomorrow because I've been asking around about like 10, 11, 12, 13 people. Eric Young is going. That will be a part of tomorrow's update. He is going. And his deal was through December. They wrote him off. They killed him. Cody Deaner talked about it. I don't know about Wolf and Dane. I'll ask, though. Gazillion Beers says, any possible locations for Forbidden Door? Love Gazillion Beers. No, I haven't heard of anything yet. I don't even know if they've officially like put it on the schedule yet, but I'll ask. Misfit says, what's this about CM Punk wanting to do business with AEW again? I don't know. Wouldn't hold my breath as of right this moment. We'll see. Think things could get pretty hairy there. Cackling at the thought of TK coming out on TBS after the WWE sale and saying, I lied. It was me. Man. MJ says, any updates on the Netflix show? I heard it for a while. It was back on, maybe. Brandon Dean says, do you think some talent would walk if Vince turned up at a taping? Maybe one or two. I don't think a lot of people would. Let me get to some of the questions that are on the actual post. Any update on Deanna's free agency? No update as of yet. I'm asking every single week. Again, I have long said it is a more complex situation. Does Warner Brothers step in again and tell AEW to cool it on the excessive swearing after the last couple of weeks? They shouldn't. They got a guy who grabbed his wife's wrist and slapped her twice and pushed her to the ground running a fucking slap fight show after Dynamite. They should just let that shit go. Man. Johan says, how realistic is it that Vince McMahon is back on the board for WWE but actually has no say in creative? I'd say 50-50, man. It's hard to say. If he really wants to sell it, then he probably just wouldn't. I would imagine he's just probably trying to get a sale going. I hope so anyway. I don't want to watch a Vince McMahon led show. Could you see Stephanie and Triple H leaving the company with Vince McMahon's return? If he forces it, if he forces a situation that is a complete nightmare. Was there a talent meeting with Triple H and Steph just to calm nerves? Nope. No talent meeting as of yet. There's an employee meeting today. Talent have had nothing yet. I would assume there might be something today, but we'll see. Falls says, given reports of Vince McMahon showing some cognitive issues with remembering things, could the board require him to pass a medical exam to show he is delusional to be reinstated? Nope. That ain't happening. He's back. Michael Mann says, what have you heard about this 3:30 meeting? 3:30 on a Friday? Usually those don't go well. Well, this is more because it's a SmackDown day and it's following the big news as opposed to you're all getting fired type of thing. Rice Man says, how do you think the Vince saga that is currently unfolding will have an effect on talent acquisition, i.e. someone like Hikuleo? Well, I mean, Hikuleo might have like a year or a year and a half, 2 years left on his deal. I don't know. I just know WWE wants him or was interested in him. But I don't think right now it'll have that much to do with it. But, I mean, Vince is going to have a lot of the say here. And he wanted to cut people and was happy with the way it was going. Chris says, have you heard any interest in bringing in the Bollywood boys on full-time deals? I haven't. I know that AEW likes them an awful lot. They work a lot for Defy as well. But I know that AEW has liked the impressions they made in Toronto and Seattle. And they're fantastic wrestlers, guys. The Singh brothers from WWE are just phenomenal wrestlers, and they have been like killing it in Defy and killing it all over the place in Canada and Washington. So keep your eye on them, guys. They're not done. They are not done. What else do we have here? When do the WWE TV rights deals expire? End of next year, but they'll negotiate those sooner than later. Is Vince the chairman since joining the board? Because it says Stephanie is still chairwoman, but some say he's now chairman. He's executive chairman now. John says, why isn't WWE considering Cena versus Austin for Mania? This is just my hunch. If Stone Cold wanted somebody like Kevin Owens to wrestle him, I think that he would probably want somebody active that could benefit from it. Now, you could also build one of the biggest matches of all time, Stone Cold versus Austin, or Stone Cold versus Cena. And I completely agree with that too. And somebody's asking why that interview never went online. I'll try to find out. If Tama Tonga's brother goes to WWE, do you see him following his brother? Possibly, yeah. Possibly. I think it's a real good possibility. Whoever gets Billy is going to have a star on their hands. Oh, yeah, that's somebody. Like, I don't know if she's like, if she wants to wait until after high school to sign. She told me she's going to college. She wants to major in business. But she also told me that her goal is to make a full-time living at this. And I mean, you can wrestle and go to college, especially like if you sign with AEW. Now the MLW deals, they're not like full-time money, even though they're binding contracts. The Impact deals could honestly probably work pretty well in her favor, but I don't know how much money that would be. But there are a few options for her. Will Madman Vince put himself in the Hall of Fame this year? No, he didn't even want to be mentioned in the Hall of Fame speeches, so he's not going to put himself in the Hall of Fame. Could the electrifying Royal Rumble poster be a sign? I think they want it to be a sign. Mateo says, Sean, do you think all the crypto scam news could influence Logan Paul's WWE run? I know very little about that, but no, it will not affect his WWE run whatsoever. Not a bit. Jesse says, what's your percentage of Mercedes showing up on Dynamite now? I'll say 70%, because in baseball, if you get on base, if you get a base hit 30% of the time, you're probably an all-star. Any news on Cameron Grimes for plans for the main roster? I don't know. They were gonna bring it back up. I mean, they were gonna bring him back up. They liked him. I just don't know what the hell's happened since then. Stan says, how soon after the news broke of Vince's working to return did you get text from WWE personnel? I got that information before I even read the art, or I got those texts before I even read the article, because I was on the air with Day After Dynamite. Sam Taylor says, do you know what the reaction has been, if any, within AEW about Vince going back to WWE? They think that he's trying to force a couple people out, which he did. They thought that he was trying to take back control of that. They think that he's trying to sell the company, make a big payday, and then float away. Nicholas says, what's your score prediction this week against the Ravens? 30-17 Bengals. Does Cody on the Rumble poster spoilers Rumble return? Everybody knows he's coming back by the Rumble. Everybody knows it. Come on. What are we doing here? Buddy, you know he's coming back. Viper says, is the increase in stock prices really because of Vince's return, or is it because they announced they're renewing their rights deal and looking to sell the company? Well, it's not because of Vince's return at all. It is because they mentioned a possible sale. It's not even because of the rights fee thing, because everybody knew they were going to renew the rights fee deal. They weren't just going to let them go up and not put on TV or anything. Michael said, are we seeing the new generation of Four Horsemen with Pillman joining Anderson? Arn does own the trademark. If Arn has his way and Pillman has his way, I'm sure. But I think that, I mean, you have still a very green wrestler in Brock Anderson. You have a guy who is gaining more experience every day, Brian Pillman. I mean, he's working all over the place. And I think he's coming along as a charismatic figure as well. But Brock's had under 50 matches. So I think it's a good way to do it. But I think you need two really, really established wrestlers as a part of that as well. I think it's very important. Dakota says, heard anything about AEW doing live events like house shows that might use more talent that is not currently on screen? Well, I mean, they have a certain number of dates in their deals. So if AEW looked at that and found a profitable way, they would have a certain number of people for a certain number of dates that they would need to fulfill as a part of their contract to make those dates. But I haven't heard of any plans to do that. And then if you ever talk about it or you ever mention an AEW network, Tony Khan will mention the house always wins, which is so far their only house besides conventions and stuff like that. We're asked about Chris Statlander. She's going to be gone for a while. She tore her knee out again. It's only been 4 months. She's going to be gone for quite a while, I would imagine. Sean, buddy, I answered this already. I see them in the chat. Any plans for that empty spot in the corner behind you? Not yet. I might put a plant back there. So the reason why I have that is because usually my shot is like, I can't even do it. There we go. My shot is like that, right? Because I'm half and halved. But I've got a studio that I'm building right here, right to the left of me, that I'm not going to show you guys because it's a wreck, but I've got a lot of stuff set up, and I'll give you guys a tour soon enough. I like to do that stuff on Select, and you guys seem to enjoy it. So, by the way, if you all don't check out Figure Hall, I did one on Christmas that was about my favorite Christmas ever. Like, I came from a very, very humble background, to say the least, and there was one Christmas that my mom just went all out, and she got me 3 specific gifts that stuck out to me. I rebought 2 of those at Toy Vomit in Lexington, and within minutes of me posting the video on Fightful Select, Toy Vomit posted that they had the WCW ring, and I went and bought it and did a special Figure Hall episode. Man. Carol says, do you know if Uncle Howdy's supposed to get involved again tonight or no? Let me look. I don't see anything referencing him that was passed to me. I'll just say that. But that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that he will or he won't. You never know. Misfit says, why? By the way, we limit our things to one question, but I'll answer this. Why would George Barrios and Michelle Wilson trust Vince after he blamed them for the WWE network failing? Money! That's it, my friend. Money! Any basis to the rumors that Punk is willing to try and make things work with AEW? I think it all depends on what you mean by making it work. I think he might be open to an amicable split or something like that. I'm wondering where you guys are getting that from. Is it just the Instagram thing? Let's see here. Any internal fears of massive layoff of talent now that Vince is back? Among talent, yes. James says, update on Nick Aldis. Have WWE or AEW made him any offers? I did have one person try to tell me that he was headed to WWE, but when I tell you guys that this person, I don't want to say try to feed me bad news or anything like that, but they feed me news that ends up not being accurate, but then I get one thing from them that's always accurate. So I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but AEW did make him an offer a few years ago, but the money wasn't great. The money wasn't great for that deal. Wrestling Observer, I believe Dave spoke about it. I just want to say, don't group everybody in with that report. Maybe I was intentionally given misleading info on that situation, but wasn't looking promising this week. Team Kicksource says, Ronda said on her stream she's tired of Charlotte and focused on the tag titles now. Any word on if that's the plan for Shayna or her just trolling? I hope that's the plan for her and Shayna. I think that Ronda would best be served working with Shayna and challenging for the tag titles at WrestleMania. Does the Prince still have first dibs on WWE sale? I didn't know that was a thing. I had never heard that before. No plans or no recollection of that whatsoever. Interesting. Sean, do you know where Hook does his training? Oh man, I did know at one point. Damn, I'll ask. If WWE is sold in 2023, say to NBC, would Fox still have SmackDown till the end of 2023? Yes, they would. And then almost certainly NBC Universal would put all WWE programming on their shows. And I mean all of it. I bet Main Event would be on like USA Network on Saturday morning or something. There would be no benefit to them not doing it. Over under on Max Caster mentioning the Vince news in his rap tonight. Oh, he's doing it. He's going to do it. New subscriber here, Sean. Who do you think is someone that is criminally overlooked and not signed to any of the major promotions? Okay, I'll give you a male and a female. Jody Threat is one, and Cheeseburger is another. Cheeseburger, ROH Cheeseburger, is one of the best technical wrestlers, period. And if you get him, you can probably be like, hey, you want to work with some younger talent too? Which, I mean, he's still very young. He's like 30, 31, but he's an incredible trainer too. Everybody has great things to say about him. Jody Threat is one. Cheeseburger. CB is another. I think that anybody who signs CB gets an incredible deal with him because he can work a lot of different ways. He's always over. He is always over. And he can get other people ready as well. Just a really, really brilliant wrestling mind. I think somebody should probably sign him. Ryan says, from your vantage point, has AEW been sacrificing potentially better Dynamite ratings, building new stars in recent weeks in hopes that will benefit them greatly in the long run? Yes, exactly. You can't just throw the established talent on there. You have to build the new talent. You got to build. You always have to add more. Sean says, would the PLE still be on Peacock or would they move to USA Network? Well, that's an interesting question. It really depends on the nature of that deal and their rights fee. They've got to deal with Peacock for a certain amount of time, though, so it would be on there. Just checking to see if you've heard anything about the reported rift between Santana and Ortiz. Well, they definitely did have one. I don't know if they've made up since then, but they absolutely did have a rift, and they were not getting along for a while. They did not team for a long time before they even split. Well, the injury split them, but let me see how long it had been. They didn't do any 2-on-2 matches for a very long time where they had to directly work with each other. So let me see. They had their Blood and Guts match. They had Anarchy in the Arena. Then they had a 6-person tag with Eddie. They had a tag team battle royal. They had another tag team battle royal a month before that. They hadn't teamed together in a 2-on-2 match in 4.5 months before Santana ended up getting hurt. I think it kind of speaks for itself. Zach says, why'd you pick the Bengals as your favorite team instead of the Colts? So the place that I lived was about an hour south of Cincinnati. It was an hour away from Cincinnati and Lexington. So both of those were like my cities. That's where I would go to. You couldn't find anything in our town. You're going to Cincinnati, you're going to Lexington. So I'd be in every other week, I'm in one of those places. So Indianapolis was like 3.5 hours from me. So it wasn't local for me at all. There was nothing local about Indianapolis. Caden says, have you heard why they didn't reference Omega winning the IWGP US title on Dynamite? No, I'm sure they will next week. I'm positive they will. Any news on Seth Rollins and the apparent injury he suffered Monday night? The thing that I was given, or the update I was given, was that he was just very, very good at his job. That's what I was told. I feel like by now, on Friday, we would have had an update. Right? Like, I think that we would have some sort of WWE update on this guy tearing out his knee or something of that nature if he was actually hurt. Let's see if I missed any that I have answers to. Could I see more AEW talent going to New Japan when they're cycled off TV in 2023? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Jake says, let's fast forward 360-ish days. Is Omega Osprey match of the year? Yep. I'm going to say so. That's one of the most incredible matches I've ever seen. By the way, guys, I want to thank you all for all of your votes in the Fightful Select Awards. We're going to be doing like a Google form for overall awards. So we did like tag team, women's tag team, indie tag team. Those will be grouped together in one vote just for annotation, like men's performer of the year, in-ring wrestler of the year, all that stuff. Those will all be in one vote too, and we'll just kind of have one of those. Church pastor says, I think you missed mine. No, I didn't. It's right here. Do you see Mercedes as a face or a heel? I think as a face, then a heel. Oh, whether they've resolved their issues, Santana and Ortiz. I haven't heard anything, but I could ask. Demon Diva. Hey, I'm going to be on one of her shows next week. Paul Simon says, with talent like Adam Cole and others willingly leaving WWE before getting a Mania moment, could that affect new signings wanting those moments? I think that that means a little bit less than it used to. But maybe that could sort of be rectified. Andy says, what's the ceiling in your mind for Joe Hendry and his current gimmick? Is he at it? Oh, I think he can get over massively with it. He is such a supremely talented guy. He's a guy that always looks to improve in the ring and do different things and finds ways to get over. Seth Becky no longer listed on the website for the live event this weekend. That means anything about the injury. Well, Becky ain't working an injury, right? Do you think that some people are potentially getting worried now, like Dragon Lee? Dragon Lee was so far from being off Vince's radar anyway. So I don't think so. Can Braun main event a Mania? With the right booking, he can. There's some things that he'll need to work out, but I think that he probably could. Well, Raw and SmackDown get new sets soon. I doubt it. Evan says, what are the odds of Booker T wrestling at Vengeance Day against Grayson Waller or New Day? I think that would be great. He's in incredible shape. I haven't seen what he looks like in the ring, though. But I think that would be really, really good. They seem to be working something, right? Seem to be doing a little bit of something. And I just love that Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are over in NXT doing that. Like, originally they were, well, okay. I was told they weren't pulled off the SmackDown roster, but they haven't wrestled on SmackDown. They're still doing live events. So they don't really have the benefit of being NXT talents because they still got to work live events all the time. I think we have about it, guys. If I didn't answer your question, I will use it to sort of figure out what's going on. Seth did the redesign, rebuild, reclaim. Maybe he's working. Do I see Johnny Gargano getting solid time in the Rumble? Yes, I think he'll get a lot of time in the Rumble. That's just me. Guys, thank you all so much. I will be appearing on Coexisting with Rob and Maggie shortly. Hope you join us. Until next time, we're out.